The reason I did the handout is just so if you wish to make notes or ask questions, you could write them down as we went along. And you're certainly welcome to ask questions as we go along. In addition, for anyone who wants one, there's a few extra budgetary crunches if you're interested in following the statistics of what happened with the police department between years 2014 and 2015. We're going to start with 7 chapters. The first one's population studies, crime numbers, uniform crime rate, vehicle operations, police operations, projects that are in progress right now, and expectations for the year 2016. First, we're going to start with the Crossville population. In 2014, we reported to the FBI that we had 11,246 permanent residents in the city. Now, I don't know where that number came from. 6 months ago, we talked about the same thing. Well, lots of people don't know where that number came from. But in 2015, we reported to the FBI that there were 11,330, so it was a small gain there. The point being that they determine crime rates based on that permanent population. So it doesn't matter what your working population is. This is how they do it. And they warn you right on their website, TBI, and so is the FBI, that these crime rates aren't to be used to compare city to city, county to county. But I don't know why else they would do it if they weren't doing that. It makes no sense. It's just their shot at making comparisons, apples to apples. Based on traffic studies, in 2014, we actually had 49,104 people in the city. And in 15,000, we got down to about 46,293 every day. Now, those aren't the people who live here. That's the people who come through here. But without traffic, how are people getting in to commit a crime and get out? So these are actually the numbers of people that we police on a daily basis. An interesting point is that on Saturday and Sunday, we don't have this many. That means that Monday through Friday, we have to have more than that so that we get the average. That's what the average number of people are here every day. That's the lowest average. It could be slightly more than that.
How do you calculate that?
We look at the numbers of cars that go through the traffic lights. That's the lowest denominator, and that's only putting one person in a car. And it doesn't account for people who live here. Like today, my wife was home all day, didn't go anywhere, but she still won. So,
Well,
and
you
there's,
go through the same like 3 times.
well, that's why we use the lowest common denominator. Like today, I might have gone through 10 times, but that accounts for it, because that's only 1/10 of what they consider the policing population. I've talked to 3 different planners. All of them have over 30 years in government planning. None of them had a great idea on how to determine police population for service purposes. A lot of peace there. But the point is that you have to come up with some idea. And this is their best idea they have seen. All 3 said that's a very acceptable practice. One is the Cumberland County planner. So chapter 2, we're going to talk about the numbers of crimes that are reported to us. You know, sometimes there's a crime that doesn't get reported. That can happen. But these are the numbers that we actually know about. In 2014, there were 2,054 crimes. In 2015, we had 1,746 crimes. So we can see there's a drop of 308 or a 15% crime drop. The uniform crime rate, however, is that uniform crime reporting that we have to do to the TBI and to the FBI. It goes back to that first initial number. So in 2014, here again, the constant is 2,054 crimes. The FBI uses an equation that makes it look like our crime rate is 18,264. Well, in 2012, when that report was put on the internet that we are the most dangerous city in Tennessee, that number was over 25,000. So you can see there's about a 34% drop right there. But if you actually look at the number of people we police every day, the true crime rate was about 4,190. I can tell you when I applied for this job, I saw the 18,000 number and the 25,000 numbers. And I thought, a city of this size, of this nature, if we could get it under 5,000, that would be outstanding. because there's other cities just like us all across the nation. That is the mark that they try to get to, the benchmark. So we were already, when I came here, at 4190, which is well under 5,000. But in 2015, we went 3841. That is outstanding. That is proof positive. And you're going to see some other proofs as we go through the PowerPoint of what a safe city this really is. So I'm very pleased with it. Yes, sir.
Chief, how did it come up with the 18 to 15,000 numbers? I don't get it.
Because they compare us by 100,000 residents. We don't have 100,000. If you take the 1330, divide it into 100,000, you come out with the number. You have to multiply that then times the other number. It was about 9, I think. So 9 times the 2054 came out with the number. It was 9 point something. And then the same thing in 2015. If we divide the 11,330 into 100,000, we would have 15,365 crimes per 100,000. But we don't have 100,000 by their way of counting. Which gets me to this. The FBI has their way of reporting the crime numbers. But it's only based on the numbers they're given. I can tell you, when I talked to the power company, they said, well, we have more than 11,330 people in the city. I said, well, how do you know that? I'd love to know that information. And he said, well, I could just tell you by the meters and the amount of electricity used. I said, how much do you think we have? I don't know. So no matter what I looked at, I've come up, I don't know how many times we've discussed this. How do we come up with that permanent number? We don't have a way, but this traffic figure has been a deceptive way of doing it with 3 different planners that I know all have more than 30 years. So,
You've got
yep. I'm sorry.
crimes on here, 2015, 1,746. Then you got your FBI's 100,000 number. Then you have actual. Now, is the actual
That's based on the
estimate
traffic
not
study.
reported?
No.
Just
Actual
another
means
formula
we
to
took the
get
number
number.
that are reported and we used the same equation the FBI uses, but we used it at the, what I believe is the current
Population.
population.
Okay.
That's your daytime.
Well, 9 out of, Ms. Rutherford was saying that's the daytime population, but that is the all-day population, actually. But what's happening is 9 out of 10 crimes are occurring from 7 to 7, 1 out of 10 after 7. So that's why from, what about noon to 5, 6, we're flooded with calls. 2 to 4 is our upset. So in that daytime, in that one period, we're really flooded. In the rest time, we have better opportunities to solve crimes, which you'll see here shortly. And last, the actual numbers reported, a 15% crime drop that we spoke about. Chapter 4 is our vehicle operations. In 2014, the entire department drove 568,500 miles. In 2015, we drove 481, that's almost 80,000 fewer miles. As a whole, that's about 43 cars. In 2014, the patrol division alone drove 448,000. In 2015, 11,000 or what, 16,000 fewer, the whole division, and that's about 30 people driving those miles. Then in 2014, a single patrol officer averaged 16,258 miles, but in this last year, it was 1,000 less, 1,100 less. So that's going to become an interesting point momentarily. Our old fleet cars were Crown Vics. They were averaging 10.1 miles per gallon. The new fleet Explorers are averaging 11.1 miles per gallon. So it's a 1 gallon, or 1 mile per gallon savings. You think, gosh, who cares? Who cares about that? But it is an important thing because that 1 gallon per mile for the half of fleet that we have now is 4,386 free gallons of gas every year. So, and that's at today's price. Let's suppose gas went up $1 a gallon. Would that fool anyone here? I don't think so. But that would double that savings. And if it went up to $3 a gallon, it would triple that savings. So every mile we drive, we're at least doing something that's making the environment better and making us more efficient. Our response times. In 2014, our average response time was 3 minutes and 42 seconds. to a service call. This does not include traffic stops, which have no response time. We took out everything that has a 0 response time. So this means we're somewhere, we get a call, we leave there and drive to it. And that's really pretty good. The average around the country for a city like us is around 5 minutes. This year, 2015, it went up to 4.35 minutes. I think that's, again, still excellent. That includes 911 calls and non-emergency calls. That shows that our 911 calls are about under 3 minutes. In fact, they're well under. I don't have, nor can the CAD system tell me that. I don't know why, but they can't. So, but I can say just from an industry standard that if we're responding to a 911 call, it's under 3 minutes response time. And we'll be looking, in fact, we're looking now for this year, what we can do to shave some of that time off. Because, if you've got somebody on top of you, 10 seconds is a long time. So you sure want to catch the burglars before that happens. So this is chapter 5, some of our police operations. In 2014, we made 1,558 arrests, and that includes 109 juveniles. In 2015, our arrests went down, 1,380, and that includes 90. And you probably think, well, gosh, how do you get a crime drop but fewer arrests? Well, it has to do with fewer crimes, fewer arrests. And secondly, it deals with quality arrests and what we're arresting people for. So we had a very significant focus in the year 2015. So there's 178 fewer arrests, but there's 308 fewer crimes. And we're solving just under, it's 47%, just under 50% of our crimes. So you can see where the math starts speaking to you. Anytime the math is speaking to you and it's corroborating each other, you know you're doing the right thing. Burglaries, 144 and 15, 107, a 26% drop. That's important because when you're dealing with crystal meth, you're also dealing with burglaries and thefts. Those three things, drugs, burglaries, and thefts go together. Burglaries and thefts always feed drugs. Reported thefts, we had in 2014, 792 total thefts, 329 were shoplifting. In 2015, 571 thefts with 263, so that's a great drop. That means 221 fewer thefts overall, 66 fewer shoplifting. And you can see the crime drop there. That's great partnerships causing that. One of the great partnerships is Walmart, because we work routinely with their in-store theft people. And it's just been, I've been real pleased with that partnership. We have the same partnership at Lowe's, at Kroger's, wherever we work, that works together for us. The more partnerships you have, the better everything runs. Motor vehicle thefts, we had 68 stolen cars in 14, and 15, 60. That's not a big drop, but it still equates to 12%. Fraud. 217 to 161, 26% drop. And here's a very interesting one. In 2014, we had 8 robberies. In 2015, it went up. It's the only thing that did. It went up 5 robberies. But at least half of those are drug deals. I can think of one that's real significant. When you have 13 robberies, one a month, that's nothing. I mean, it might be something if you're the victim. I know that's true. But in the bigger picture of the rest of the country and all the other cities our size and stuff, for that many people, that is a fantastic number. So we'll keep working on it to try to get it down. Here again, I know half of them are drug related. They always are. But the point is that that's still a real solid number for a city like this. Other cities, they have that number. Assaults, 258 and 252. That's not a big drop. But how do you stop assault? How do you stop one guy from punching another in the nose? It's pretty hard to do. But fortunately, people chose, I guess, 6 times not to do it. And then, of course, drug cases. 2014, we had 277. In 2015, we had 293. So there's a nice increase there of 16 cases. But more importantly is the quality of the cases. Just one example, one person that we arrested was trafficking in opiates, in pain pills and morphine. That person was buying drugs on TennCare, paying $1 a month for prescriptions, and then selling them for $10,000 a month right here. That's no longer happening. Those are the kinds of things we have to really focus on. Burglary, theft, drugs. If you do that, you'll always win, always. Here's some more interesting information. Traffic tickets. Yes, sir.
Did you get a doctor too?
Well, actually, I can't talk about that. But I can't tell you that answer, but you can continue smiling. In 2014, we had 1,749 tickets with 649 warnings. 15 that went down, and it went down almost a third. That's pretty interesting. And I mean in tickets, and then 580 warnings. However, what's our focus? Burglaries, thefts, drugs. So we're pulling people over when they need to be pulled over, and we're pulling over people when they're part of our investigations. But we're not just roaming up and down Main Street looking for people with traffic law violations. 2014, we conducted 5,265 traffic stops. In 2015, look at that. There's only 150 difference. It's not significant. That tells you that we're still doing the traffic stops. We're not writing as many tickets. Let's do a traffic stop, check them out, and get going. Because we want to stop as many people as we can and build. Our hope in this year will be to build intelligence files on who's driving around, who's in the car with them, and what are they like, what are they doing. Why aren't you at work? So, why aren't you at school? Those kind of things. 2014, we had 1,213 crashes with 134 injuries. This year, it's up a little bit to 1,306. But look, there's only one more with injuries. That tells you that the remainder are parking lot crashes. And we're kind of working on that. In fact, the chief here, Turner, is helping us with one parking lot that's a big issue over at Kroger's that we've had some problems with. What are you laughing about? Oh, there you go. In canine deployments, here is a great way to show you things are safer. They've almost doubled from 82 to 150. What's that mean? That means that if you run from our dogs, it's a bad choice because their dogs like fast food. So the point being that we're apprehending people, but we're apprehending the right people. We're not just out being a nuisance, we're catching criminals. So there's some of your conclusions. That's how it works. Burglaries, thefts, drugs, crime drugs. Focus on those, that becomes important. The sixth chapter is projects that are in progress. Everyone's familiar with the drone. We've received the drone. We started training on it Saturday. We still have a ways to go to get it where it will be fully operational, where we can use it. But I suspect in the next 90 days, we'll be able to routinely deploy it on missions. Accreditation, we're 60% of the way through now. Our hope is to receive our accreditation in July. That's Tennessee accreditation. Our other hope is once we get the Tennessee accreditation, we'll start going through national accreditation, which is called CALEA. Our evidence room, we've audited our evidence room. We're working on an impound now. But the great news about the evidence room is being audited. It's real clean, and we've got a regular auditing process in place. So I'm real pleased with that. Record software, we're in the process now. We have an RFP out for new software. We open it sometime this month, and hopefully by next month we'll have a choice made and get it going. Record software is so important because it's your records management system. It drives all the numbers that you're looking at right now. The current system we have, when it was purchased, we didn't purchase all of the product, and therefore it just doesn't function. Remember when I said to you earlier I couldn't get some numbers? That's one of the areas I can't get some numbers from. So as soon as we have that software, we'll be a lot better off, and it's way less expensive. Communications equipment, we're going to be going over that next, and we're looking forward to putting in a new system that not only works well, but keeps us safer. Right now we're experiencing about 5 malfunctions per day in dispatching that can be an issue for us in safety reasons. Is that right? 5 a day. New fleet vehicles, we have the last 4 over being striped. In fact, I think the last one's being striped today. So we'll have 20 new vehicles that are marked units out on patrol. We have a total of 25 new vehicles. All saving money on gas at 1 extra mile per gallon. The VIP program is probably something you all don't know about. Lots of you have heard of special deputies or reserve officers, those kind of things. This is kind of like the reserve officer program. It's volunteers in policing. But it's strictly civilians that can do lots of things to help us that doesn't require a gun. Anything from picking up found property, like somebody wakes up in the morning, there's a bicycle in their front yard, and they just call us to come get us to pick it up. Well, we don't need to send a gun toter to do that. There are just many things they can do to help us. And so I'm looking forward to having about 30 on the agency when we build it up fully. They can go to school crossing places, so a gun toter doesn't have to stand there and let the children cross the road, and they do that all over the country. So it doesn't require a gun to do that. I think that'll be a big savings for us in time and money. Court overtime program, we implemented it about 4 months. We worked on it for a while, but we finally were able to implement it about 4 months. We don't have the numbers in totally, but January, February, and March will be our first full 3-month period. But looking at December's, I think we've got a shot at saving more than half a month in overtime. So like if we typically spent $4,000 a month in overtime for court, it'll be under $2,000. It looks like it's working good for us. I see the evidence from December, and I'm very much looking forward to January, February, March, and seeing that number reduce. It saves our guys going to court. We've worked out a deal with the judge. The sheriff is doing it also. We have someone that monitors the court cases, works with prosecutors as a team, and also the public defender. If they decide they want to have a hearing, we call our officer at home, have them come in and respond. The ones that are already on duty are being paid anyway, they come in. But if they're off duty, we used to have 6 or 8 of them sitting down there all day long in court at time and a half waiting for something to happen. And then nothing would happen. Or they might get 1 hearing. So we're spending all that money, and our guys are missing sleep. If you get off at 7 in the morning, you just want to go hours, you want to go and go to bed instead of sitting in court all day. So now we're letting them go and go to bed. If we need it, we call them. The judge gives them an hour to get there, and it's working great and saving us a ton of money. Our expectations for this next year, our major goal will be the reduction of crime. You know, this year was 15%, but I mean, there comes a time when you can only cut down so many things. And a realistic goal, I believe, is 3 to 5% for this next year. That's what I'm hoping for. If it's 1%, but it's down, I'm good for it. I like it. So, 2, the implementation of our new records management software. 3 would be the completion of our accreditation, installing new communications equipment, introduction of volunteers into the policing program. So, any questions?
I've got some questions. I've got a comment.
Any questions for anybody except Mr. Seuss? Just kidding.
You said in 2015, you drove almost 500,000 miles, 481,000 plus.
As a whole.
As a
That's
whole.
all the department.
How many accidents do you have?
Oh man, I don't know that. Less than 5.
Anybody who has run a fleet, the fleet that I have run, knows that that's an astronomically good accident ratio. Well done.
They go through driver's training every year. It's part of the mandates for Tennessee.
It's a partnership work with Lowe's and Walmart.
Well, we know them. We know all the people who work in crime prevention. Literally, if they're watching somebody at Walmart, they call our officers right out in the cars and say, hey, we're watching somebody, the officers start heading that way. So we're there, they're there, we converge. Lots of times we catch them right in the store. Every now and then one gets out, like one day one got out and ran across the road, and that's one of those canine deployments we were talking about.